Great. I'm so excited. Like, this is such a great podcast, first of all.
Oh, thank
Like, I
you.
love hobbies. I'm like really obsessed with having different hobbies. I think it's like so good for your soul.
Oh, yeah.
So when Tara told me about it, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds wonderful. So
Thank you.
happy to be here.
Well,
Awesome.
so glad. Well, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So you are the founder of Mom Like That. Did it start
Yes.
as a podcast? Does it start as a hobby? Like, take us through that journey.
So it did start off as a podcast, and that was the only reason I even joined Instagram to begin with, because I needed a space to promote the podcast. It was originally called Mom Like That Podcast because Mom Like That was already taken.
Mm.
And because I stopped podcasting, I just dropped the podcast and added an underscore just because like I don't want to answer questions about podcasting in that sense. And the intention, like I did the podcasting for a few years and I just felt like I exhausted all the topics. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. We had great guests, like both serious and funny, some experts. And then like COVID hit and I got pregnant and I lost like that mojo and then stopped podcasting. Then I tried to revamp it and I was like, I don't want to edit anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this.
a lot.
I don't want to. So I was just like, okay, it's no longer fun because the production pieces are no longer fun for me. So I just don't want to do it anymore. And in general, like life's busy, work's busy, and I've just been focusing on other things.
Mhm.
Um, Essentially, like I'm keeping this account alive because I want to eventually talk more about like working mom life because that's who I am. I have a full-time corporate job and I'm also a freelancer. So it's a really busy job. I'm a project management and business growth consultant.
Mhm.
So like during the day, it's like herding corporate cats through a
Mhm.
lot of different like really, really massive projects for many massive corporations. And then in the evenings, like I support like small businesses and entrepreneurs with project management on a small scale because corporate costs are too much for small businesses. So I make it affordable. And in that capacity, like I analyze people's businesses and like what they're doing so I can create them a roadmap on how to achieve their goals. I never tell people that I can help you make money because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm a business consultant, doesn't mean I can promise you an income.
Sure.
But what I do is I enable people to have the right tools, the right technology, and systems and planning in place so they can in a really easy way, well, as easy as like managing a business gets, be able to accomplish their goals as opposed to feeling burnt out. And this fall, I'm launching a couple new services. And actually, like I do a lot of this freelance through word of mouth. So I'm still in the process of establishing my website and everything and like securing this as like a legit business in that sense. But this fall, I'm launching it as like an official business to grow my clientele, but also I'm providing support to like influencers. Like that's one of my offerings that's going to come this fall. So I'm really excited about that and including like doing just like group coaching sessions for working moms just to handle like difficult conversations at work and how to set those boundaries because it becomes like hard to ask for things because you're a mom
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to be a burden for taking time off for work like for kids related and I often see people even at my work when they have to take some time off because of kids they go into like rants of explanation as to why
Yeah.
like it's not needed girl just
Right.
say you're,
Right.
you're not
Take
available
time off. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
it
Yep.
like you have the right to say that so essentially and that's in a nutshell
Mhm.
and then like of course I have a million I like love to keep myself busy so I have so many hobbies that I'm like a really big fan of yeah so that's my story.
Wow, that's incredible. You are like, I mean, that's so much. That's awesome. You're taking on all those projects. How do you do it?
Well, I do have to say, like, I have a very supportive partner.
Yeah.
So, like, my husband and I are very much like we divide and conquer everything. And also, like, a little bit of help. Like, we outsource so many things.
Yeah.
We hire cleaners, and our cleaning services come and cleans our house. Like, of course, we still have to tidy up and do the
Hmm.
clean up before. But she's seen some shit. Like, can I say that in the? I
Yeah, I
don't know
think
if
it's
I can. You
fine.
can.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
But see, I sometimes wonder, like, she must think I'm a slob.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, we just have messes all the time, and like, you can't have everything perfect. That's just why I could never be a lifestyle influencer. Like, I don't have a single corner in my house that's like, oh,
No, I don't
picture
know how
perfect.
people do that at all. That was
No. Yeah. And also, we don't really cook. We buy a lot of pre-made foods from Costco. We rely on takeout and just like general pre-made meals.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's not perfect, but we don't have time. Like, and our kids have really busy schedules. It's a lot of divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like,
You have to
and
prioritize
like,
it. It's important.
yeah.
Hmm.
And like, it goes through cycles of burnout. Like, I'm totally burnt out right now. Like, I was saying to my husband this morning, I've reached burnout.
Mm.
And I'm like, next week I need to like slow down and take
Yeah.
some time off to just clean my house so I can feel better.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
burnout's a
Yeah.
real thing as a working mom. We can both relate to that. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And it's great that you're able to recognize that
Mhm.
and like call that out and kind of start to like implement time for yourself in that. Cause like that's the self-care that you need in order to get out of that burnout, right?
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, you'll just like go crazy. Like,
Yeah.
at least I would. So,
Well, with all that going on, how do you find hobby time?
okay. So, hobbies are like kind of built in for me. So, um, do I start like with my hobbies?
Sure, let's hear about, we'd
Yeah,
love to
like
hear about the bullet journaling.
Okay.
yeah.
That's my favorite. So, do you guys know what a bullet journal is?
I do.
I personally do not, so
Mhm.
please let me
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so bullet journal is like picture like your diary plus your to-do list and your calendar and your like a goal tracking and a scrapbook all combined into one.
Okay.
So it can be anything you want it to be. Some people bullet journal and they just do their thoughts. It's like a fancy way of saying like scrapbook and fancy to-do list. But
Okay.
okay, so I was actually this year's bullet journal is sitting in my bag, but I was referring to some notes from my last year's bullet
The
journal. I keep them
visual
all.
Yes.
examples, yes.
It's like visuals.
Oh,
Like it's
Actually.
like April. So it was my April, and I had two pictures based on like what I'm envisioning for the month. Lots of planner stuff, but it's also like my goals. I have like my journals, like what are my goals and wishes for 2023 went into it. Um, I had like a vision board in it, like what am I looking to do? But it's a lot of like to-do list. What are my goals for this month? What am I working towards when we are doing like a family trip? Like this was like a week and my daughter drew in it. So yeah, it's a planner as well as a to-do list. Like, so I refer to my old journals. Every year we do like a same cottage trip. So I have all my to-do lists from the previous years into my journals. And I just go back to it, say, oh, like, yeah, this I like, this I didn't like to take. And like, last year I was making nutrition plans, so they are in it.
Oh.
It's essentially anything you want it to be. And I use mine daily. Oh, this is a cute page. This is my Christmas prep.
oh,
So, like because I'm a journal junkie in that sense. Sorry, I'm gonna like turn on my screens in the back because it fell asleep on me. Sorry, it is lighting. It
It's
just
okay.
see?
yeah,
Do you see?
yeah, makes a
I use that
difference.
makes a difference.
Oh,
And also like stickers. Because you can't do journaling, in my opinion, without stickers. I have
Oh,
like books and books of
oh,
stickers for
yes.
every purpose. I have like you have a plan. I have a sticker for it. Like there's stickers for like daydreamer, like for your hopes and dreams. There's a sticker book for super moms, goals, objectives, good habits. Like you name, there's a reel I have on it, and I can share that with you later. But
yes.
you name a sticker, like you have something you're working through in your life. I have a sticker for that.
I
Wow.
love it.
So,
So,
copy, that's awesome. I love it.
and I actually use my bullet journal daily. So,
Yeah.
before a month starts, I create a plan for the month. Like, what are my goals this month? And I track my habits to down to exercise, how often I'm cleaning, so I can, like, see, okay, like your house is falling apart. Let's look at how much you clean this one.
Right.
Well, there you go. Like, so I track everything, how much I read, how much exercise I get, how much water I'm drinking. And then, like, all my goals for the month are big events that are coming up that I need to plan for, create project plans for. All of that I do ahead of the month. And then I just update those lists. And then, like, when I just need to write down my thoughts of things that I'm feeling, that are just on my mind, I throw them in there too. And at the month end, I actually print out pictures of like highlights of the month and I put them in the journal too. So
Oh,
I have bullet journals for so many years now, and they're just going to be inherited by my kids. And I'm hoping one day my grandkids will do a project on their cool grandmother
I
in
love it.
school
I was gonna
and
say.
have all of this like memory to like really get into my mind, like what was grandma thinking?
Yeah.
how did you get into, like, when were you introduced to bullet journaling, and how did you start to implement that into your daily routine?
Probably I think 2017 is when I started my first official bullet journal.
Okay.
Just like Pinterest and BuzzFeed and like all of these places had like bullet journal stuff and I love to-do lists. So it started with like creating a fancy to-do list
Mhm.
and I love a planner, but I just found that general agendas weren't enough for me. Like they didn't fulfill me in the way I wanted to plan. So I started creating my own planners and
Okay.
that incorporate my to-do list. It was very customized. I would make the templates and then print them out and then put them on paper or draw them out and like I love to draw as well, like colors. Like I'm not good, but just like fun. It's like very soothing. So I
Yeah.
wanted it to be so customized to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I learned about bullet journaling. I'm like, this is exactly what I need.
Wow, what a cool way to like stay organized, keep yourself
Yeah.
accountable, be a little creative,
Yeah.
and then also
Yeah.
take some of the pressure off of that idea of journaling. Because I've always been a little overwhelmed by the idea of
Yeah.
journaling, like having to
Yeah.
sit down, feeling like I have to like sit down and write out all my thoughts and feelings. I love this idea to just jot down a few of the key points for the day.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like much
Yeah.
more manageable as a busy person,
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can have
Yeah.
it all in one book, and like
Yeah.
I can't wait to post like pictures, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
that you've shown us today of like
I'll send you pictures too if you want.
Oh, that would be
it's
great. Yeah.
beautiful, because I
Mhm.
feel like I would love for our
Mhm.
listeners to see that, because I'm somebody who really likes to-do lists,
Yeah.
because
Same.
I just love like the satisfaction
Yes.
of like writing something
Mhm.
down.
Yes.
But I never considered the idea of like decorating that,
Yeah.
essentially decorating
Yeah.
the list to make it pretty
Be
while
that much more
sitting there.
satisfying, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just like little hearts all over it.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to put like little hearts over our eyes, or maybe there's
That's it. It's just a grown-up version. It's
Yeah.
just adulting with those stickers. Like,
Yes.
remember like when we used to collect stickers? Remember those
Um,
fuzzy
Mm,
horse stickers?
Yep.
Lisa Frank?
Yes.
yes, Lisa Frank, or
Mhm.
like those gel pens. Remember when your teachers
Oh,
Yes.
were
colors.
big,
That's
man?
I
Red
have like
one.
again like a whole box of pens that I keep. Like I'm
Yes.
obsessed with this stuff. It's so nerdy and dorky. So like don't come out and tell everybody, but I don't leave the house without my journal.
That's
Like no
great.
matter where I go, it stays with me.
And it's all in one book. I love that you're not
Mhm.
carrying multiple books to try to manage multiple different parts of your life. You've got it all in one, and you get like a
Hmm.
you almost kind of create like a full picture of yourself. I want you to publish it so I can kind of get into your mind and read it. Would you do
Oh
that?
my God. Like that would be so fun. I've thought like I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I think I would like in the future when I can look back and be like, oh, that's the past me. Like,
Right.
so I don't have to like justify like the
Oh,
anything. But it's just so personal. Like sometimes like the thoughts are just dark and like remember like whenever whatever mood cycle I'm in, sometimes it's just really dark, but it's just like a nice way of capturing. Okay, you know what? Did you guys ever see Grey's Anatomy?
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Alice Grey's journals
Yeah.
and how Meredith was
Yes.
hooked.
Yes.
That's the vision I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the
yeah.
vision I have.
Yes. Your kids opening that box 10,
Yeah.
20 years from now and being
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Mom thought some dark
You know
stuff.
what? My new journal is right here. I gotta show you this because this
Okay.
is great. Sorry, I'm like right here. I'm not leaving. You can edit this out. It's like in this bag somewhere. I'm just like dumping stuff out. Like I said, like, I do a lot, so my entire house is a mess. But at least like my journal's organized. Okay, so you can also buy really cool,
Oh, yeah.
nice
That's
covers for
Yes.
your journal.
Yes.
This was a $100 cover just for my bullet journal.
Okay.
But like it has like other things I add to it. So I switch out the journals, things that I want to like glue in to the journal later, I add to it. But
Just kind of
like
keep
I add pictures. I add like pictures of what the month is like, what the month was like. So this was from February with my kids. These are my trackers. Like it's like a whole list.
Wow.
And you also have to agree with yourself, like summer's really busy.
yes.
Mm.
So like I am not going to do really detailed trackers for summer because I just don't have time.
No, who does?
But like when we were, oh, this is my packing list for our cottage trip. Do you see like how you can just make it fun?
Yes,
Just have
definitely.
your packing list
And then you
there.
have that and you can reuse it, right? So that's
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love that I can make this my, oh, and then I put other stuff in it too. Like I'm obsessed with Taylor Swift. My son made me a picture of Taylor Swift on Mother's Day. So I put it in here. Like any memories. It's like a scrapbook too. So
That's really sweet.
it's like it's my lifeline. I can't live without it.
I can tell you're
That's so
passionate about it. Like
Yeah.
just by listening to you
I
talk.
am.
Like it's literally seeping in, and like that's honestly, I have some jealousy for that because
Yeah.
it's like I just want to feel so passionately about a hobby,
Hmm.
right? And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm getting there. There's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
couple I've dabbled in
I
that
think we
I've been
all do.
excited
Hmm.
about, but like just seeing like the energy that you have and talking about bullet journaling, like you don't have to tell me that you are
Thank you.
passionate. Like I can see it and feel it.
Yeah, there are like some legit crazy experts that they're so artistic. I could never be at that level. They're just, but this is my thing. This works
It's
for
for
me.
you. It's for you, right? Not for anybody else. So that's so cool.
Exactly.
So I want to move on because there's
Yes.
one of your hobbies that I really want to learn more about. It's your stars.
Yeah.
Tell
Mhm.
me
Oh
about
my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've all
So
got
stars, I have like a jar here. It's literally paper stars.
oh my
And
oh my God,
I
that's not
didn't
what I thought it was
know.
gonna be at
Yeah.
all. So
yeah,
I
it's just
thought
paper
you were just
stars.
really taking it. Like I was picturing like, you know, snowflakes, like that you would
Yes.
cut out a piece of
Yes.
paper. I thought
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna
Oh
be.
no.
What?
How do you
This
make
is like,
those?
For our people who are not seeing what we're looking at, her stars are actually 3D.
And they're tiny.
yeah,
Like the size
four
of
dimensional.
a
Wow. So
dime.
cute.
Come in various colors. How do
Yeah, so they have
or
gold.
not
I don't know where
or
my new paper is because I just finished my last paper. This comes in handy because I just want to fidget with my hands. There
okay.
are tiny strips of pages. Here, I'll open one so you can see what it looks like. Um, they're tiny strips of pages. Do you know what we used to make roses with the ribbons?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of like that is how you make it. It's just the way in folding it.
Oh
It's
my,
like this long.
and you would
Wow.
So you
like
just keep when I'm in meetings and I'm just like need to just fidget, I just keep folding it in the way it's supposed to be done. I'm not doing it right now, but by the time you're done folding it, you just squeeze the sides, the edges, and it turns into a star. And I just keep doing it. It just keeps my hands busy,
oh,
and helps me stay focused. And it's really cute and pretty. And then my daughter likes to play with them after.
How did you
I
stumble on that hobby? I've never heard of that.
um when I was a teenager, I went into the Sanrio. You remember the store Sanrio Surprise, like the Hello Kitty store, Sanrio
Oh,
World?
yes,
there was
yes.
one in like
Uh-huh.
the old, I think it was the South County St. Louis. I
Okay.
think it might even still be there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they sell paper stars there, like the strips for the paper stars there. I was a teenager, I got it. Um, it was like a good way for me to keep myself busy and keep my thoughts like, like away from just the messiness of my life. At that time, I just used to make them, put them in jars. And oh my God, this is so cringy. Okay, so one time I made like a jar of stars for my then high school boyfriend. There were like over 1,000 stars
Oh
in
my
it.
gosh.
And then um I labeled the jar with it was an anniversary gift, like 3 months, because or 6 months or something like that, like a big deal. And I labeled it, if I could hold one star for each time you made me smile, I would have the entire night sky in my hand.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
This is so easy and
Oh, I
cringy.
love it. Thanks for sharing that story with
Oh,
us.
I
teenage love.
Yes,
do you,
we've all been there.
do you think he still has the jar?
I have no idea. I should ask. Like we're still friends. Like like it's so old, but that's what I did. And then a few years ago, I had all these jars. I had stopped making stars for a bit. I'm like, what do I do with it? So I sent it to my kids' school, and they use it for like counting and kindergarten and collages and stuff, like just decorating stuff. So it's been coming in handy. And then like I picked up this hobby again about 6 or 8 months ago, and my husband's like, "Oh shit, these stars are back." It's like,
They're everywhere.
it's just good. It helps me fidget.
So you just need to make
So
like a bigger jar than what your high school boyfriend
yeah,
got.
exactly.
Like a star for every day that I've loved you, baby.
I know. I think my kids would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could do that for my
Good.
kids.
what a cute
Yeah.
idea to just have
Mhm.
like, especially because like you said, you kind of do it when you're just kind of trying to, what did we learn? Habit stacking almost. Like you're doing your meeting, but you're also
Mm.
doing your stars. We learned that from Tara. Tara taught us that word.
Oh, that's cool.
You put that while in the meeting and then just kind of share with your kids, like to kind of show them how you've been thinking about them all day long.
Mhm.
That would be really cute. I feel like they would buy that. I would buy
I
that.
think so.
And
Like, I don't even know if my high school boyfriend liked it.
Yeah.
He was probably like, it's so cringe. Like,
Ah,
what? I got a crazy one. Let me tell you what she did. Yeah, no, I don't know, but it was such a to me it was like so perfect in that moment.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think it's great that you found a use for them to be able to send them to the school too. Because I mean, like they really are like sizable little
Yeah.
things that you
Yeah.
really could use to
Mhm.
count things with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Clever, just to have those little
Yeah, and like colorful, like they can use it for different things. They can organize colors and sorts. So it's like good for kindergartners.
I think that's great. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, so the
Yeah.
next hobby that you told us about is you also read, and you currently have a goal of getting 22 books by the end of the year. Where is that
Yes.
lie, girl? What number are you at?
I'm behind. I think at 10.
10. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, that's more than one a
Yeah,
month. That's
I feel
good.
like that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing. 10 is,
Yeah. I don't know. Like I feel like I thought my goal was okay, like I could build out. So normally I would set a goal for 24 books, two a month. But then the last 2 years, I'm like, I didn't hit this target.
Hmm.
It's been 22 books consistently. I'm like, you know what? Let's aim for consistency this year. So I think I'll pick it up. Like come Christmas time, I read a lot. Just when I'm like, holiday season, just
oh,
so I don't know.
yeah.
Things slow down a little bit.
Hmm.
Do you have a
And
favorite
sorry, go
genre?
ahead.
Oh, do you have a favorite genre of books you like to read?
I don't like I read fiction and nonfiction both. I'm really into like when I'm looking for just some fun, I'm really into like a good smut read,
Yeah.
something raunchy, something sexy, but I also love like a good mystery. And a lot of like self-help type of books.
Mhm.
Atomic Habits is what I've been reading on like so I'll always have one fiction, one nonfiction on the go because the nonfiction takes a while, right? Like I'm not finishing in one
Oh,
sitting.
No,
And
absolutely.
no way.
Yep. I
and I'm
don't
like pausing and I'm like, okay, like let me evaluate, let me think this
That's that.
through.
Yeah.
definitely.
Absolutely. It's interesting because like I see that you through your themes of like talking about your hobbies, you seem to be very in tune with yourself as far
Mhm.
as when you either um I'll say roadblock for lack of a better word, but roadblock is being used to say like maybe not hitting a goal or maybe just don't have the time for it or maybe just no interest in it. You seem to be very self-aware of when to stop a
Mhm.
hobby and maybe either stop or like readjust expectations. Have you always naturally been able to do that or is that something that you've just learned as you've continued through your hobby journey?
Yeah, I think it's learned. And it's been through a lot of reflection of reading out what my goals were and where I netted out with accomplishing them. So there was a time where I'd be like, I didn't accomplish my goals, like what a failure in that sense. And then like life happens daily. Like there's so many things that are preventing us from just being able to do simple things, like even cleaning.
Yeah.
But I'm just like realistic about, okay, like these are my goals and it's okay if I don't hit all of them, but I'm working towards something. And all timelines are arbitrary. Who
Yes.
Absolutely.
tells you how much you can do in a specific time
Right.
frame?
Right.
So I just base it on that. Like it just writing down the goals reminds me like, okay, these are still things I want to work towards.
Hmm.
And yes, I have like a timeline in mind, but this is like not a make or break timeline. Of course, when like you have make or break timelines, you just get it done,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And these are just fun things that keep me engaged. And I just like I'm good about like there was a time I have some bullet journals that have blank pages
Mhm.
because I carved out things I will write in this specific spot. And I
Oh,
just didn't because I was like busy. And then I'm like, oh, I wasted this journal. And like, what do I do now? But like, I'm like, okay, now I'm not doing that. It'll change as I go along. It'll change. And if I made something in a journal that, I'm not going to work towards, I'll print something else and put it on top of it.
yeah.
And it's just like staying real with yourself. Like you can do everything.
Right.
Hmm.
And like social media doesn't help, right? Like everybody wants to do everything and everybody's always accomplishing things
Hmm.
on social media. And that's not real life. So I've just learned to just go have grace
Hmm.
and like still be like have fun with the things I'm pursuing.
I love that you use the word use grace because I feel like that's something I've been trying to say a lot with myself and like the last like year is trying to give myself grace for expectations that I set for myself. If I don't reach them, not to like be so hard on myself to
Yep.
make me because I feel like I'm honestly sometimes I feel like I bully myself.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
like put myself down for, not getting to the dishes that day and like when I wanted to, or did I spend enough time with the girls when I wanted to and instead I did the dishes, right? Like I feel like having that grace to take a step back and reset yourself, because you're right, every day life happens. It's not just that week,
Yeah.
every day. And finding time to get that self-care in there maybe isn't always factored in that day, but you know, the efforts should be at least acknowledged, right? You should at least acknowledge yourself for that. So I appreciate hearing you say the word grace. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you're allowed to change your mind on everything in life,
Yeah.
every single thing. And it doesn't, like, I really hate the perspective on, like, okay, when people want to accomplish something, and if you don't, it's looked at as a failure. I don't think you're failing at things. Like, I'll give you an example. During pandemic, I wrote about 4 children's books,
Oh,
and then I got one fully illustrated.
Wow.
what?
It's ready,
Ah,
still haven't published it. I just can't get myself to do it.
oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm like not feeling the story. Like the second one I wrote was so much better. So I'm like, oh, if I release this one first, like how will I feel? I
Yeah.
don't have patience and time to work through the second one with the illustrator right now. And it's like, okay, like I've even announced on my page a few times, like my children's book is coming out in 2 months. 2 months passed by, like, and now it's been a year. And okay, who cares? Like
Nobody
nobody's
cares,
sitting there
right?
thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's worrying about like, oh, did Terri do it?
Yeah.
Aha, she
Yeah.
failed. And if they
Yeah.
are, like, that's a reflection of their
How do they-
inner
Mhm.
whatever. So like you're allowed to change your mind on everything. Like even the way you want to raise your kids, like you can change your mind on what your own name, and people do that and they
Yeah.
start calling themselves different names. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, yeah,
I appreciate how real you are and how vulnerable you are now, but also on your social media presence. Like you're just, I mean, showing what it's really like for moms. So I
Yeah.
think that's so awesome.
You're very relatable.
thanks.
And I really
Thank
appreciate being
you.
around relatable people, because one of the things that, that we talk about in happiness is finding a community within your hobbies, right? And just finding more women specifically, I feel like that can recognize like the daily struggles, but then also like prioritizing self-care time. Like it's really nice to continue to meet people like you that just help us feel more, I'm gonna say normal.
Yeah.
Normal
Yeah.
and like being just honest.
Mm-hmm.
Honest is a great word to use there. So
Yes, that's important to me.
Yeah.
Yes, but thank you for saying that. Like I'm not doing a lot on my social media page right now, just again because I don't have the time and I don't want to put in the effort. And that's okay. But like I appreciate you saying that because that's always been the goal. And sometimes, of course, it doesn't come across, like there's always a perception on social media, and I try to get away from sending a specific message.
Yeah.
It just
Well, the
I'm
message
just gonna
I get
be
from
me.
is just honesty. It seems like you are trying to build community. So I feel like your message is ringing loud and clear. And
Well,
I'm
thank you.
honored that you found time to be on our show today.
Definitely.
I feel like you.
I was really excited for this.
Aw, thanks, Terri.
We can kind of wrap up here. I know that you kind of talked a little bit about how you do have kind of like a side project that you're kind of wanting to get out there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that now, or is there anything else that you would like to promote with us?
Yeah. So I have another page which I've done nothing on, and eventually I'll pick it up. And it's called By Terri Fry because my consulting work is going to be under By Terri Fry. Right now, like because I've limited myself to how many clients I take, I just do it through word of mouth. But I do want to intentionally start promoting it more and work with other clients. And I'm going to, at first, I thought like influencers is not my market. And influencers reached out to me for work, like people I know. I just say, like, I'm not your person.
Wow.
Like, you probably need someone else. But I recognize, like, as a project manager and people are burnt out, there's a market for that. So I'm looking forward to launching new services geared towards social media influencers and like content creators. We're just doing it all on their own, but how do I make their life easy to manage the workflow and still help them meet their goals? Like I can't meet the goals for you. I cannot tell you what that you will meet it, but I can help you build out a roadmap and have the right things, people, place, like, everything in place to be able for you to achieve it if you follow it. If you don't follow it, then, And the other is just like working mom support. Like I'm launching coaching groups in the fall where it's just discussion based, small groups for really authentic conversations. I wouldn't want more than 5 people in a session. where we can just talk about like working mom struggles. Like, what are you struggling through in life at home because of being a working parent, or even at school, not school, like, I mean, you could be in school
Could
or
be.
at work, like having difficult conversations at work. Like, how do you manage those conversations, without losing composure, without having to worry about how you come across, just setting like realistic boundaries that people respect and give you confidence. And the topics will vary based on the support group's needs, but I'm really excited to bring that in the fall.
That's such a cool idea. I'm sure there's huge need for that. I
Oh
think
my
we
God.
all could use a venture
Yeah.
session.
You might see me lurking in that one.
Oh, I would love to have you guys on. I'll keep you posted when I
Yeah,
launch them,
yeah,
but I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
yeah.
And again, like the delays are like, I want these things to be meaningful and valuable. Like everything about it should add value. And if it doesn't, it's just fluff, then I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
So like I want to be really intentional. So yeah, that's why I'm working through it slowly.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Terri, I can't thank you enough for being on our show today. I mean, you've been an absolute delight. You've been so honest and sincere with us. I just feel that that's going to resonate with anybody who listens to this episode. You've been so
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. This was
So
great.
much,
And I
Terri.
got to talk about my bullet journal without judgment.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Terri, you are like a delight. It's so nice to talk to somebody who is just very honest about, and this is us like done with the episode, just me talking to you. Sorry. Finished, I moved on. I it's really nice to hear somebody who has such a presence like you, who is upfront about the fact that, like you were talking about your children's books, like you got it all the way up to, this point, and you're like, I'm going to announce in 2 months it's going to drop, and then it didn't, and you didn't let that like tear you down, like, because like you said, nobody freaking cares. Like nobody's
Yeah.
no one's looking at that. And I feel like sometimes I can get caught up in thinking that people do,
Right.
which is such a small-minded thing to get caught up in. But I struggle in that. And so it was really great talking to you today and hearing
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I think like what I took
Yeah.
away is like it seems like you have really evolved from you've gone through all the social media stuff and realized that maybe that's not as fulfilling. I don't know if that's and kind
Yeah,
of
no, that's exactly it.
and come to the conclusion that really this new venture might be much more satisfying for you and like it's just an evolution, right? So I think that's so cool. It's all stepping
Absolutely.
stone towards something new. Like we started this and who knows where it's going to go, but it's good to keep that in mind that we're all on a journey to figure it out.
Yeah. You're allowed to change your mind, and it doesn't mean you failed at something, right?
Yeah.
Like it just means that that journey just came to an end.
Yep.
And I think like our concerns with this comes from school. Like
Yes.
we were always told like if you don't meet a deadline in the real world, you're gonna lose your job. And I work in a really high demand pressure corporate job. Do you know how many times we just say like we're not gonna meet this deadline?
Not really,
Like
yeah.
it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like here are the reasons, and the client's like, okay, like it sucks, but we understand.
Yeah.
Like
It's drilled into our head growing up. I mean, all women,
yeah.
and that we just have to achieve it all and do it all. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, you guys are both right, because
Yeah.
I feel like as women, like we really take the studious portion really, really, especially I feel like our generation really seriously, because it was like if you weren't doing that, then you weren't independent enough, you weren't able to hustle enough, right? So I feel like we really, like you said, hold us to these deadlines because it was ingrained in us.
Yeah.
Like in the kindergarten, man. Unlocked a thought that like now I'm just kind of like maybe I need to think about that with my daughters as they're going into school. You guys.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what? I had this conversation. How old is your daughter?
So I have two. I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like my 11-year-old during school year came to me like near the end. He's like, Mom, like I'm just struggling with my dance. Like they have like a dance course, I guess, in class. He's like, I'm struggling with, and dance is not his thing. And he's like, I'm just struggling with this. Like it's really hard. Like I'm really stressed out about it. Are you gonna be upset like if I didn't do so well? And I'm like, no, like you don't do well, you don't, are you putting in the effort? He's like, yeah, I'm trying. I'm like, that's all that matters. He's like, well, what if I get a D or something? I'm like, well, then you get a D.
Right.
Like we just move on from it. Like it's okay. Like you don't have to nail everything in school.
That's got to make you feel so good that they came to you and like or like felt asked that question, because a lot of kids wouldn't. Like I know when I was a kid, I would never have asked my parents that.
Right? No,
I'd have been like, no, I'm gonna do everything I can to get an A.
Come up with an
yeah. Like I was not allowed to get anything under an A. And
Same.
if it wasn't an A plus, like, well, what happened?
Exactly.
Same. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't want that for my kids. And like, what is this pressure? Like, it's just dance. You're in grade 5.
Right.
It's just
Like, who cares?
Right. So true. Yes.
It's okay.
Praise you at the homecoming dance because I bet he'd kill it then.
I know, right? Like he can do his Fortnite dances, but like this is like in school. I don't even know what they were doing.
No,
I didn't even know what they were doing, but I'm like, it's okay.
It was
so much pressure.
What is that dance?
Yeah.
It's like, it's my Fortnite.
Yeah. It's a Fortnite dances.
Well, Terri, we won't take up too much more of your time. I know that, your time is valuable. But we would love, to connect again sometime in the future, and keep this relationship going. If you have any colleagues that you feel like would be a good fit for us that you'd like to recommend us to, we'd so appreciate you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, thank you so much for having. I'll get the word out, and I can't wait to hear this and share this with our people.
We appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you, Terri. Enjoy your birthday.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Go ahead and end meeting for